Hi everyone, this is Ashley with CT Marina Digitals. I'm going to do a tutorial to show you how to use my new neon sign mega collection in Photoshop. I'm just going to do a couple of different images, but I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can use them. They're really similar to my other Cake Smash overlays for my 1, 2, and 1-year-old, 2-year-old signs and twinkle light overlays. If you are a Cake Smash photographer, I would recommend looking for those in the shop as well. To get started, I'm going to do both. You can have the image or the overlay open in Photoshop that you want to use, or you can place embedded. I'm actually going to do this one first because I already have this one open, and I'm going to use this one for this image. So I'm just going to go ahead and select all, edit and copy, and then edit and paste into my image. And then I'm going to grab my move tool and select here and drag to resize my overlay. I'm working with a pretty small photo file, so the overlay is quite a bit bigger. And then change the blending mode. Right here, it's on normal. You want to change that to screen. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate that. As you can see, when I duplicated that, it got a little bit stronger because that part of the background is lighter. Sometimes you may need to duplicate your layers on a lighter background to get them to be a little bit more visible. That's just how screen blending mode works. But I'm going to go back because I don't want to move that. I want it to stay over there, and then I'm going to go ahead and merge those two layers together. I'll have to change it back to screen blending mode. And then I want to add excuse me, blur, because obviously I wouldn't want, if it was in focus, it would be all the way up here with my subjects, but I'm putting it in the background here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to filter and blur, and then Gaussian blur. And then this thing's in my way today. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add blur until it looks good. The amount of blur that I want kind of to match the backdrop there. And then if you wanted, say the floor was shiny and you wanted to do a bit of a reflection, you could duplicate that layer and then go within your box here and right click and flip vertical, and then drag it to the bottom, meeting the bottom of your image there. And then you're going to want to blur that one a little bit more, so you can still see the outline of it, but blur it a little bit more than the original overlay is, and then lower the opacity on that just a bit, and you can get a nice little reflection there. That is a popular, or a one to do on the popular backdrops with the reflective white floors. When I use these overlays on those, I always add the reflection in there. And now a couple of different things that you can do to customize it. You can add I'm going to go ahead and merge these two layers here, change them back to screen blending mode. You can go ahead and you can add an adjustments layer, and say you did hue saturation, and then you're going to want to go ahead and press this button right here and clip it, and that's going to be so you're only working on your overlay and it doesn't do anything to the backdrop. And then you could slide your hue layer, and that could change the colors of your overlay. If you wanted to change just a specific color in there, you could go up here and you could do play around with your reds and just change the reds in there. I don't really recommend doing that on overlays because they can, on screen blending mode, because they can get a little funky. So I'm going to go back. But if you're wanting to change one of the colors in here, an easier way to do that would be to change or paint on the color on your overlay. So you can go ahead and click your overlay again, add a new layer, and it's already going to be clipped because we did it in between the hue and saturation layer and the overlay. And then change the blending mode to color, and then come over and grab a soft brush at 100% opacity, and then come down and grab whatever color you're wanting to paint. Let's try a blue. You're going to want to use a brighter blue. If you use a dull blue, it's not going to look right. You want a bright color to paint onto these when they're on screen blending mode. And then if you just paint over it, you can see it's changing that to blue instead of, that one's a little bit purple down there, but we can paint over that again. It's changing that to blue. Sorry, I have skipping the video here. My dogs started going crazy. I apologize for that. So what that did was change that to blue. Say you wanted to change the cone a different color, you could add another layer and change its color mode again, and say you wanted to do, I don't know what you would do other than that color for a cone, but if you wanted to get fancy with it, do like a green or something, you could just paint that. And don't forget to change the color of the reflection too if you do that. Sometimes it's easier, it's good to do it this way because you can see it on the background, but you can also do it before you bring your overlay over to your image. So if you know you're going to be wanting to work with different colors, you can do the same thing here on the overlay. You don't have to clip anything because you're only on your overlay here. Change it to color blending mode, and then you can change it before you even bring it over to your image. Let's do another one. You always want to do them on different layers. That way you can adjust them as needed. So you can change whichever ones you want. You can get as thin as you want if you just want to change one line, or if you want to change a whole bunch. But that's a way that you can customize the colors to your liking. Some of the overlays already have different colors coordinate or into them, and then other ones are just one basic color. This one was a bunch of different colors. Okay, so that is how I would use that one on this one. And you could tweak it. You could play around with different blending modes to see if you like it a different way. Color dodge is going to blow out those highlights way too much. This is pretty interesting if you're doing like some type of moody like Halloween edit. Using it on Subtract would be pretty cool if this were like a black backdrop with some fun neon colors in it. But typically that screen blending mode is going to give most people what they're after. Okay, so this one I'm going to kind of hide the neon sign within the leaves here. So another way, I've copied and pasted this one. The way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to go up to File, Place Embedded, and you can navigate to the folder. I made these obviously, so I have different folders that I kind of group them into. I may start to sell them individually, I'm not sure yet, but these are all the ones that are included in the Mega Collection. I'm going to go into my dinosaurs here. Excuse me. If it will let me, there we go. And then I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it horizontal. I'm going to change the blending mode to screen so I can see what I'm working with here. I'm going to zoom out, tilt it just a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to create a layer mask on that. I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to use a hard brush for this one, 100% opacity, black brush, and then I'm just going to brush off of the leaves here. And then obviously anywhere that you can see, you can lower the opacity on this if you can't see very well. I want to leave some of the overlay because I want it to appear that it's peeking through the leaves here. Let's put that back up. And then I use a soft brush to kind of feather that light in there. Go back to my hard brush. Make sure I get this cleaned up. So it looks realistic here. and zoom out. And now it looks as if that neon sign is kind of tucked here behind that plant. I would leave this on green, but again, you could add an adjustment layer, a hue saturation, and clip it and drag that to make it whatever color you want. If you want to have a clear or white light, just drag down your saturation. And then you can have the white light as well. And that applies to any of them. Again, if you wanted to get fun with it and do different colors, you could just create a new layer on color blending mode and play with it that way. So I think that's it. Just remember to add your blur when you need it, and make sure that when you're using your layers, to remember that if you duplicate it or something, to change it back to screen. I have a lot of people trying to paint the black off, and that's no fun. That's the much harder way to do it. If you have any questions, you can send me a message. If you are a studio photographer, I would love for you to join my group on Facebook. I will link that in the description. If you'd like more free tutorials like this, be sure to just subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can watch those and you get notified every time I upload a new one.